Okay, I've got my 3 boxes set up here. I'm 4 right, 3 down in the colour grid. We got the peat, we got the paper mache, newspaper cellulose, and now we got sphagnum. I'll just go to spot colouring and we'll go in and take a look at how they're progressing. So this is the well, not peat, so it's coir. I keep making that mistake. So this is the coir. Check that it's still nut brown. I've moved the box to get this on here, and it seems to, the water seems to have come up a little bit, so hopefully that will go down again, hopefully, otherwise that might be a problem. So still okay at the moment. I don't know how long if we're going to get a strike from this, but it'd be pretty amazing if we get a strike from these weedy weeds, because they're notoriously renowned to be hard to strike, sort of thing. So yeah. So we're moving to this one, which is the paper mache. As I said, this has 3 parts more water, or in other words, it's equal parts water to damp newspaper cellulose, whereas that is 1/4 to damp coir to make the same sort of. Oh, I've moved this one a bit too, and the water's come up. So hopefully it will. Yeah. Oh, might be getting a bit of wilting there. So. Yeah, and the moss is always tougher than you think it is. The moss is actually the toughest plant in quotes, well, lower level plant in quotes. But I may have to actually raise this up. It may be that might be the problem. I've got to put a stick under here to get it level. So, well, I'll do that later on. But okay, and now the new one, the sphagnum, which I think is wetter. The sphagnum seems to be, as you can see there, roughly twice the size, and that's a little bit. That's about 3/4 of this, and this looks like it's like twice that. So this might be a little bit dilute. So we might have problems with this, but it'll be a good test, because if this is okay, then we should be pretty fine with tissue culture, I would think. Anyway, so I put the usual things in a go in this with Flexurosa, normal moss. I got the gutter moss over there, bit of mint sprig there, see if it will strike. I've got our little running semi-aquatic weeds that form little rosettes and then keep going out. I've got a thing I took out of the garden, so it's it's just coming out of dry dormancy, sort of thing, the summer dormancy. And then I've got a seedling of the same thing. Got another leaf there where that was striking up. Maybe the so-called antimicrobial antibiotics in the in live sphagnum. I don't know if you still get them. They'll be slowly broken down. That they may subsist long enough for to have some action. I don't know. I've got a Medicago. I think it's a bit too big actually, but it's going to overrun the box. I've got a non-true plantain, skeleton weed sort of thing, and I've got standard moss there, and that's about all I could squeeze into this box, because I think the box is either slightly smaller, or the fact that I've gone up an extra inch, and because it's tapered, I've actually lost some physical volume. It would get too. Oh, of course, I've got a carrot-like one too. That's an old carrot-like one. It's on the end of its life, so it may actually die out. But if it lives long enough to throw up yet another flower stalk, it will set seed in the box. So we might get a whole colony of those later on. Yeah, I think that's about it really. What did I say? I talked about the helium for. Oh yeah. Just to get the point across, I talked about helium for, yeah, have another look at these boxes while I'm talking. The salt, the potassium amended salt index of, well, at least Heterodoxa, was it mine, or was the mine of the other species I experimented with? It seemed to be like 1/3, around about 1/3 and 1 seawater. Seawater and 1/3 basically. So, 1/3 higher than Sarracenia, which is pretty amazing for something that grows on in tabletop mountain, rained on heavily most of the days of the year. I think at least 2/3 of the days of the year it's raining quite heavily. It stands in matted, pooled mats and things like that. Yeah, you know, and of course it's been rained on by rainwater, in quotes, pure water or something. Why would it have such a high salt? It just seen, and of course we made the connection with the Mexican pinguiculas. You don't find too many pictures of Mexican pinguiculas sitting in stagnant pools of water, but you can find pictures of North American and European pinguiculas sitting in by the sides of the pools, slightly submerged and not rotting sort of thing. So this idea that Mexican pinguiculas adore or like a little bit and respond to a little bit of calcium in their soil, and the North American and European pinguiculas seem to absolutely abhor calcium, would tend to suggest that the tapuis will be very intolerant. They would absolutely abhor calcium. That's the theory, and vice versa. If you go down to the other end of the spectrum, it would suggest that Mexican pinguiculas will be the least tolerant of salty conditions, sort of thing. Do you get that? So that Helium 4 can't handle calcium, but the Mexican pinguiculas can't handle salt. That's what the theory is suggesting. It's just a theory, but it's got some validity with practicality and testing out. So we'll see how we go. But I don't like the look of that. I should not have moved the boxes, fellas. I should not have moved the boxes. Maybe I should stagger these things. I don't think they're going to get the sun. I think I'm going to have to stagger them so one box doesn't impede the other box for sunlight. So if I might as well do that now. If I can get this one up a bit further, I can get this one over there a little bit further. I can bring this one down a little bit more, and they won't get sun at exactly the same time of the day. But yeah, maybe something like that. I don't know. Maybe that's the way to do it. That's the way you do it. Money for nothing and your checks for free. I don't think it's actually checks they're actually saying, but anyway. Okay, I'm running out of time here, so I think this clip comes to an end. It's a good starting clip anyway. But I said it looks really wet. I mean, in the old days, put something in like the yew, it's definitely going to rot and not going to grow too well. But then again, sphagnum was the one thing that Donny used to germinate filiformis seed on. He would start them off on sphagnum and transfer them to peat and sand. So you never know. Maybe whether it was the antimicrobials or there's something else in sphagnum. It's strange though, because the highest micronutrient, peat has lignin in it, of course, and peat comes from sphagnum moss, true sphagnum peat that is, and yet